Hello, everyone. My name is Ray,
My name's Tammy,
and we are
the
Real
real estate
Estate
couple.
Couple. And we are here to talk about our story of going from zero property to four Airbnbs in 4 years. And here's our story. First property we bought was back in 2021 April. And that was when we were living in Seattle during COVID time. It was very low interest rate. And we were thinking, hey, we're spending a lot of money on rent, but we're not really building an equity on the home. So rather than paying for someone else's mortgages, why don't we buy a home, but make sure that the mortgage amount is going to be same as rent? And at the time, we did have enough capital to buy bigger home, but our idea was that let's start small.
Yeah, because during that time, during COVID, everybody was working from home. Everybody needed bigger space. They were moving outside, and nobody wanted a condo. So we're like, okay, maybe we can get a better price for condo. So we went in for a condo that is about 300K.
Yep, 303K. And that's the time when everybody was outbidding one another and some home was going beyond like 100K over asking, but we were able to get right at 303K that was asked, that was on the market that seller put out for, which goes to show that you want to make sure you buy that's lower in demand, but you know it's going to appreciate over time.
Yeah, because it was in Kirkland, and Kirkland is known to be like a safe residential, like a good school zone, and it was relatively pretty safe in the area too. So we know eventually the location is good. It's gonna appreciate when people are coming back into the town after COVID.
Yeah, that's our mentality. Just buy a fixer upper in a nice neighborhood because eventually it'll go up, and we get to learn the process of fixing it ourselves. And that's the time when Tammy was really hooked onto doing a lot of things DIY. Like in your free time, you were watching a lot of DIY YouTube channels. Like you were subscribed to what?
The Story Girls or the Lone Fox. I was like trying to like make my own decoration or even furniture, like little small things. Just I just got really excited at that time.
Yeah, so knowing that, I was like, "Hey, this home that's in the market, it doesn't seem great, but it does have some potential." Um, Knowing Tammy being very handy and really into DIY, maybe we can take this as a project and fix it up and add the value. So we were able to close on it, and we went in and start, fixing things up, painting ourselves. Uh, didn't do the floor ourselves, but we helped out here and there,
Yeah,
just to learn the process. And that was our goal, thinking that hey, we might do this again, so
yeah.
let's make mistakes and learn along the way.
I think at that time we were watching a lot of like financial videos. What was it?
Financial independence.
Financial independence, and that time a lot of the was it bigger podcasts, they were talking about a lot of people are doing BRRRR method, which is like you buy a rundown home and then you add value, you renovate it to add value, and then you rent it out, and then you can like refinance it and do the whole thing again. So that's what we had in mind. So we renovated it, we feel like we added the value, and but at that time it was our principal resident, but we know at some point that we're going to rent it out and then use that money again.
Yeah, we weren't sure when that will be, but we knew we will rent it out. So every decision we made around fixing the home was with the mindset that we will rent out. So we didn't overspend on anything. We did a lot of things ourselves, and put more emphasis on things that will matter to tenants, right? Appliances and the floors, and making sure home looks a lot more brighter than it came into the market. So yeah, we did that. And as we moved out of Seattle down the road, we eventually rented out on Airbnb for a longer than 30 day stay and furnished finder. So it's called a midterm rental for anything that's over 30-day stay. And it's been rented out as we moved out of Seattle. And summertime is a lot more busy and wintertime is slower. But overall, on average, we're a couple of $100 positive cash flow in the Seattle. So we're happy with that. And then right around that time, our second project begins. And how that got started was, my mom saying one thing that's out of the blue and just really got our attention. So my mom just came back from a trip to Palm Spring for a golf trip, and she stayed at her friend's vacation home. And she mentioned, "Hey, it'll be great if we can have a vacation home." And normally we would just kind of
She said
brush it
that for
off.
every place.
That's true. That's true.
But
Yeah.
this time we're like, okay, that could be an idea. We could have a vacation home.
For some reason, we were like, "Oh, you know what? We're curious. Why don't
Yeah.
we look into it?" So we started doing a research, and that's when we stumbled upon Robilt's channel, who's the biggest influencer in the Airbnb investment space. So we watched hundreds of hours of him, did our research over 6 months, to a point that we had a 100-page of PowerPoint document everything about the next investment. But long story short, rather than going into Palm Spring, we ended up choosing Scottsdale, Arizona as our next destination, and we were confident at that point that we can positively cash flow from our Airbnb investment.
Yeah, we believe in the city from a, I don't know, economic standpoint. We think the city was growing and there was a lot of short-term rental demand for Scottsdale. So we just needed a home that cash flow positive and we can, sit on it, wait for appreciation, double the gain.
So we ended up choosing Scottsdale, and from the moment we closed on the home, we flew out there to Arizona, working 9 to 5 on our job, full time job, and 5 to 1 a.m. we were furnishing and renovating and just designing the home. And this happened for how long? Maybe like about 5 weeks.
5 weeks.
Overall, Tammy took on the project of designing and uh, doing a research on who will be our target market, and then having an intentional design of the home that would speak really to the right audience. Because if you think about the Airbnb business, you're really competing with that initial few photos.
Yeah.
So that design aspect to really touch on our target audience of our out of state visitors was really necessary. So
Mm.
um, we will talk a bit more about that, what
Yeah.
how Tammy made a home really gender neutral and but still like pops from the design standpoint. But overall, we it's been managed really well. We're managing remotely with the help of our professional cleaning team there, but it's cash flowing positive, right around 9% cash on cash return. So we're really happy about that, and we think it's going to go up even more down the road. And the next project was tiny house.
Yeah, the tiny house. So after Scottsdale home, we were I don't know, very excited to start the next one, but that was about 2023, end of 2023, and interest rate has already gone up to like 6-7%. It was wild. So we were like, okay, we can't buy another home. Interest rate is too high. And that time we started looking into glamping. So glamping is the idea where you buy a piece of land and then you build like tents or some temporary fixture on it, and you kind of add the mattress, make it a little bit more nicer, targeted like city people who's not like so adventurous, but they want to be adventurous. So at that time, we thought, why don't we just buy a piece of land in the middle of nowhere, maybe 2-3 hours within a big city, and that has some intangible, whether if it's ocean in the middle of an open desert or on top of a mountain, and you can oversee the whole valley. So we started looking, and we realized it was still out of our budget to find a land that fit all the criteria, or it was going to be too big of a land, like a 40 acre. And I don't know how to manage that. I don't know where to find water. That was too big of a jump for us, I should say.
Yeah, and that's when also we had a big life change and moved to Toronto, Canada. So we were like, hey, we're new to the city. We don't know much about it, but we still want to stay involved in the real estate project. And that's when we ran into our business partner, and uh, he's been a builder whole life, so he can build a tiny structure from ground up. So we partner up, just thinking that we can build a tiny house on the wheel that's nicely designed, thanks to Tammy's design skill, and make it into a little cozy getaway that's about 1 hour away from the Toronto downtown. Will be good for small family or young couple for a little relaxing getaway trip away from the city.
At that time, even though my role was to add a bit designer touch to the tiny home, but we still went out multiple times to work on the home together. So it was a perfect opportunity for me to learn how to build a home from scratch. So I like learned how to do a little bit electrical, like see what was actually behind the wall, how was the system design, what are the things I need to know. Like I didn't know, I don't know, water pipe would freeze in the winter, so you need to winterize it. Like that was a lot of new terms for me.
Yeah, so everything was a new, but it was a just big enough challenge for us to take on with the help of our business partner. And after about 9 months to a year of building it out, we eventually built it. Came out very nice. Launched it quite recently, just a few months ago. But we are actually projected to do close to 60K, 62K in gross bookings. So once we finished the tiny house, we were ready for the next project. And coincidentally, our client saw our work and he's been following along our real estate journey. And he asked us if we could come out and furnish and design the home and manage the home for himself. And this is out in Hollywood, LA. So we flew out, stayed in there, and this was also in a very tight budget and timeline. But we really wanted to go above and beyond to make it happen for our client. It's three-story buildings. That's um,
2 bedroom, 2 bathroom with a rooftop patio. I think it checks all the marks as a single family home as well. So you don't have to worry about HOA, which is like strata. That's what we call in Canada.
Yeah. And I think for this particular project, we really focused on enhancing the design side of the home because after doing our market research, we realized that a lot of the homes nearby are putting more emphasis on the spaciousness of the home. But this home itself, being 2 bedroom, 2 bath, although it's a 3-story, it's quite tight in the spacing. It's about 760 square
It's
feet.
like small and narrow and tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we really needed to figure out a way to stand out and be better than the competitors around. And our way of uh, standing out was design, and that's where Tammy's skill set really came into play.
Yeah, so I think we wanted to bring people because it's Hollywood. We wanted to bring people into like, oh, I'm in Hollywood kind of thing, and Hollywood glam was what our client wanted, and I think it was a perfect fit for the house. We went with like a lot of velvet, like things that makes you feel luxurious, a lot of bold color, but it's not too bold to a point where you feel like this is like a lounge bar. Like it's not a place where you can rest. So we try to find a balance of that as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we will share more about like our thinking logic, some of the challenges, how much we spent on designing the home. But we just finished this project very recently, just a few days ago, and we already started getting 5 or 6 bookings already over next 2 months or so. We're projected to do about 80K on this home over the next year annually. So we're gonna stay very closely to monitor, but also we'll be managing the home. So that's been our journey so far, over 4 years, and that's how we got involved in various real estate projects, and we're very grateful for it. And we actually started from nothing. We don't know anything about real estate, and we thought that's a very like rich people thing. But there are many ways to get involved and get started, and you could start from something small, but just like us, you can grow over time. And now that we have few under our belt, now we have our eyes on bigger projects, such as the glamping cabin out, but also, or it could also be a coffee farm that we're thinking about.
Big project.
Yeah, big projects. We're still early in the
Eventually,
project.
I think our goal is to build like a mini resorts, trying to differentiate ourselves from a regular Airbnb home, and that's what we've seen in the trend as well. Uh, People are looking for unique experience, not just a stay anymore.
Right on. Okay, so that's it, guys. Thank you again, and hope to see you in future video. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.